Hello, and welcome to our course, Calling All First Responders, Real-Time Continuous Glucose Monitoring Awareness and Diabetes Emergencies. We know that first responders care for many people experiencing a diabetes-related emergency, so our goal with this program is to help you understand the challenges of living with diabetes and better understand the reasons why these emergency situations may occur. We also want to introduce you to Dexcom and real-time continuous glucose monitoring, or real-time CGM, so you can understand how this technology might help people with diabetes to prevent some of these emergency situations. With this new information, if you do encounter a person currently using real-time CGM, we hope you'll have a better understanding of how the technology can improve diabetes outcomes. Thank you for joining, and we encourage you to watch all of these brief videos. In this module, we're going to talk about Dexcom G6 real-time CGM. So let's talk about the G6 system. It is indicated for ages 2 and up. And in the image here, you can see the simple push button applicator on the left with a little orange safety tab that's used to place the sensor, which is a small wire about the size of an eyelash that senses interstitial glucose. The gray transmitter near the bottom then transmits the glucose to either a compatible smartphone or a receiver. So people can then get glucose readings about every 5 minutes up to 288 readings per day, along with a trend arrow showing the direction the glucose is going and how quickly. Because it has exceptional accuracy, they can use their reading to make diabetes treatment decisions, and they no longer need to do finger sticks unless they don't see their reading or arrow, or if they feel different than their reading indicates. People can customize their high and low alerts, and they'll always have a fixed urgent low alarm at 55. The predictive urgent low soon alert gives an individual an alert ahead of time, within 20 minutes before they're predicted to go below 55. Users can also share data with others like family, friends, and caregivers using the Follow app. And overall, there is robust clinical evidence for the improved glycemic outcomes when using real-time CGM. So let's go through Dexcom G6 in more detail. The Dexcom app allows the user to see the current glucose value along with the speed and glucose direction based with the trend arrow. They can also see their trend graph to see their recent glucose history, and you can see they have their high alert set at 200 and their low alert set at 70. The last dot on this trend graph is their current glucose value. They can add events like insulin, activity, or carbs that they ate by selecting the events tab at the bottom. And then if they turn the smartphone into landscape mode or sideways, then they're able to see their glucose over the past 1 through 24 hours. And you can see they can select at the top how many hours they want to look at. And they can also scroll back and put their finger over one of these periods of time, and they can actually look at their exact glucose value. So trend arrows are really what make real-time CGM so much more valuable than blood glucose monitoring. Again, because they show the speed and the direction where glucose is going. So let's review these arrows. When the arrow is sideways, the glucose is constant and steady. But when the arrow is slightly angled up or down, the glucose is slowly rising or falling about 1 to 2 milligrams per deciliter per minute. When there is one arrow up or one arrow down, the glucose is rising or falling about 2 to 3 milligrams per deciliter per minute. And then when you see 2 arrows up or down, the glucose is really rising rapidly or falling rapidly. And so they actually could be 90 milligrams higher within 30 minutes or 90 milligrams per deciliter less within 30 minutes. So these trend arrows really provide valuable insights to a person who's living with diabetes, and they can really try to catch their highs and lows before they happen. As mentioned, there are high and low alerts and one urgent low alarm. Again, people with diabetes can choose to set their low and high alerts to notify them when they're outside of their target range. And this is really important for people to really personalize and make real-time CGM work for them, because we don't want them to have unnecessary alerts. So we really encourage them to talk with their diabetes care team to identify the best alert settings for them. And of course, urgent low is set at 55. That is that you can't change and you can't turn off. So let's walk through a scenario on the value of trend arrows. So meet Charlie. Charlie is on multiple daily injections of insulin a day, and he's leaving work to drive home, which takes about 30 minutes. So he does a finger stick and he gets a reading that's in his target range. So what do you think he needs to do? Is he all set? Can he drive home? Does he need a snack? Right? If he's just using a glucose meter, and here he's 127, he's going to most likely get in the car and not make any different choices. But what if he had real-time CGM and his value showed 127 with 2 arrows going down? Again, he's in his target range, but now he knows that he could go significantly low when it's 2 hours going down. So he's probably going to change his actions and make a different and safer choice. The urgent low soon alert is what really makes the Dexcom G6 unique. So it provides an advance warning of impending hypoglycemia, and it's a predictive alert so that the algorithm looks out and looks at within the next 20 minutes and sees, will the glucose drop below 55 in that 20-minute window? And if it does, then they receive an alert again while they're in their target range still, and that'll show up on the G6 app. So here you can see their glucose is 110, but dropping very fast. So that this alerts the person in ample time so they can treat with whatever the number of carbohydrates that works for them, and hopefully reduce or prevent hypoglycemia. So on the graph on the left, you can see that when the threshold alert were to come, then they would be notified within 5 minutes of actually being at their threshold, whatever that's set at, say it's set at 80 or 70. So then when they treat that low, they're actually going to be low. And often what can happen is people overtreat a low because they feel so bad, right? Those feelings of hunger, nervousness, anxiousness, they don't go away right away when you treat it and when you eat. And so that people can often overtreat, right? But when you have this predictive alert and you're treating when you're still in your target range, you don't have those feelings and you don't have those symptoms. So you're less likely to overtreat and end up with what's called rebound hyperglycemia, right? So then you have a low, you overtreat, you go have hyperglycemia afterwards, and it kind of becomes this repeating story. With the Dexcom G6, you can have remote monitoring with the Follow app. That allows the person to share their glucose data with up to 10 followers. It can be friends or family or caregivers, and the alerts that the follower would get in the follow-up can be customizable. And research has shown that just by having at least one follower, you can actually have improved diabetes outcomes, including increased time in range, improved quality of life in adults, reduced diabetes distress, improved hypoglycemia confidence, and improvements in severe hypoglycemia. And remote monitoring really can give a peace of mind for CGM users and their loved ones. So the Dexcom G6 now works with Apple smartphones and the voice assistant Siri to be able to obtain their current glucose number and their glucose trend. So it can be very helpful, say someone's driving and they don't want to take their eyes off the road, or it can be helpful for, say, an older adult that might have vision changes as a result of retinopathy. And so all you have to do is say, hey Siri, what's my glucose? And Siri can respond and say, you're 150 and steady. So it's a great feature. Dexcom G6 is made for connections. It is integrated with many different things. And here's some examples. It's integrated with closed loop pumps. So the two in the United States are the Tandem Control-IQ and the Omnipod 5. And it's also connected with insulin pens. Right now, the one that's on the market is the InPen, but we will also be connected with future Lilly and Novo Nordisk pens that are in our pipeline. And we're connected with many, many digital health apps that increases and changes daily. It really is the most connected CGM system. And the goal in that is to really allow patient choice. So people with diabetes can choose how they want to deliver their insulin, what apps they want to use to help them manage their diabetes. And they can all do that with their Dexcom CGM. So let's watch this short 5-minute video that shows how to set up the Dexcom G6.
The Dexcom G6 is a great tool for managing your diabetes, and I think it's extremely easy to use. There are no finger sticks. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get started with the Dexcom G6 app. Getting started is easy. There are just 3 steps. First, go through the app setup screens. Second, insert your sensor and attach your transmitter. And third, pair your transmitter and start the sensor 2-hour warm-up. First, let's set up the app. Download the Dexcom G6 app. If you have the G5 app installed, delete it before installing the G6 app. Then log in. If you have created an account with Dexcom in the past, use that same username and password. If you have never created an account with Dexcom, create a Dexcom account. The app walks you through the entire setup process step by step. The first few screens provide information and videos. Watch these videos and read the information screens. You will come to a screen where you need to set your low alert. I decide to set my alert to 85. That way I have time to react before my glucose gets too low. Tap Save to set your low alert. Now set your high alert. I set my high alert to 240. You should work with your healthcare professional to determine which low and high alerts would be best for you. The next few screens walk you through connecting your transmitter to your smart device. Your transmitter and smart device connect using Bluetooth. The app automatically checks to see if your Bluetooth is on. Next, you need to enter your transmitter serial number. The serial number is on the back of your transmitter box. Next, I need to enter a sensor code. My sensor code is on the sensor applicator. That's it for app setup. Now you'll need to insert your sensor and attach your transmitter. To insert your sensor, first choose a place on your abdomen. If you are under 18, you have the option to place it on your upper buttocks as well. Choose a site at least 3 inches away from your insulin pump infusion set or injection site. Avoid bony areas like ribs and hip bones and areas with scarring, tattoos, hair, or irritation. First, wash and dry your hands. Clean your skin with rubbing alcohol and let it dry. Grab the sensor you used during setup and remove both labels. Do not touch adhesive. Place the applicator on skin. Remove the safety guard. Fold and break it off. Press the button to insert sensor. Remove the applicator. You've successfully inserted your sensor. You'll wear each sensor for 10 days. Now it's time to attach your transmitter. Take your transmitter out of the box. Clean your transmitter with an alcohol wipe and let it dry. Insert the tab of the transmitter into the slot on the transmitter holder. Snap the transmitter firmly into place. Rub around the patch 3 times. You've successfully attached your transmitter. You'll reuse the same transmitter for 3 months. Once your transmitter is attached, you can swim, bathe, and shower like normal. Now it is time to pair your transmitter and start your sensor. Wait for your transmitter to pair. Then tap the Start Sensor button. Now your sensor warm-up has begun. The warm-up will take 2 hours to complete. You will not receive alerts or readings during this 2-hour sensor warm-up. After your 2-hour warm-up, you get your first sensor glucose reading. See that number in the gray circle? That's an example of a sensor glucose in target range. It updates every 5 minutes. Over time, your graph fills in. When you go below your low alert setting, the app alerts you and the circle turns red. When you go above your high alert setting, the app alerts you and the circle turns yellow. The urgent low soon alert will alert you when your glucose is falling fast and you will be at 55 in less than 20 minutes. This gives you time to take action to prevent a low.
This is your urgent low alarm. This alarm will alert if you go below 55. You cannot change, turn off, or silence this alarm.
Your glucose is always changing. This is why the trend arrow is important. It shows where your glucose is heading and how fast it's moving. Arrows help you avoid being low or high by taking action before you are already too low or too high. Of course, if you have any questions during setup or any other time, call Dexcom Technical Support or Dexcom Care.
So there are many more instructional videos on the Dexcom YouTube channel that you can watch to learn more. If you engage with someone that does not have real-time CGM, but you think might benefit, recommend that they speak with their diabetes care team about real-time CGM. And there are a couple ways that they can get started with Dexcom. Hello Dexcom is a program that offers the user a chance to experience the Dexcom G6 system prior to purchasing a personal CGM. They use their smartphone and can see their glucose data in real time, see where their glucose levels have been, how fast they're rising or falling, and have a chance to really understand how their body responds to activities, food, and daily life. And of course, if they're ready to get started on a personal CGM, their HCP can prescribe it, and they can get the system, and then they can look at their data on their personal smartphone or on a receiver. And we want you to know that Dexcom is here to help. We have sales support, we have technical support, we have the Dexcom care team that can provide patient training, and we also have many websites for CGM users at dexcom.com and for healthcare professionals at provider.dexcom.com. And finally, we have a great resource called Sigma, and it's a great way to learn more about real-time CGM. So if you would like a free membership, just use that QR code and scan it and enter your information. There's so much information there. You can watch expert presentations, read about new clinical evidence, about coverage and reimbursement, and just hear all the latest news. So we hope you've enjoyed our series on diabetes emergencies for first responders. Along with all the resources we've mentioned, we also have some additional resources on our website so you can learn more. So we hope if you've enjoyed this program, you'll share this information with your colleagues and others that might benefit from this content. We thank you again for the work that you do every day, and know we appreciate you. Thank you.